from the Broadcast Center in Medicine Hat, this is the Chat Evening News.
Tonight, Budget Day.
I'm pleased to present in this budget a blueprint for jobs.
The UCP government's 2020 budget includes things that will impact your pocketbook. And exciting pickup.
We just really enjoyed him. Just visited him for that short time, so we thought, well, we might as well make it long term.
We have a story for you with a happy ending about a dog finding his forever home.
Plus, in sports, we are live at the Snake Pit tonight as the Medicine Hat College Rattlers take on Augustana in their first game of the provincial tournament.
It's a day many have been fearing. The UCP government tabled its 2020 budget this afternoon. Outside the legislature in Edmonton, thousands of concerned Albertans marched in support of the public sector. As collective bargaining continues, the government does plan to eliminate the equivalent of 1,436 positions, mainly through attrition. Post-secondary institutions are expected to be hit the hardest with around 400 job cuts. Good evening, I'm Dan Reynish. We have extensive coverage of the budget coming up here on Chat News at 5:30. The Kenny government's second budget since taking office. Alberta is still in the red, but the finance minister says the books will be balanced by 2023. Tom Vernon breaks down the numbers and what the budget means for jobs and the economy.
At $6.8 billion, the deficit this year is actually $900 million more than was forecast by the finance minister 4 months ago in his 2019 budget tabled in October. You can partly lay the blame on bitumen. The government expects royalties to drop $1.2 billion this year. That's due to global uncertainty and a wider differential. The finance minister says he is still on track to balance the budget by 2022, and you can actually partially credit that on bitumen. As Line 3 and Trans Mountain pipelines come online, production limits will be removed, investment is expected to go up, and bitumen royalties are forecast to nearly double to $6.1 billion in 2022.
We are not predicting a boom time in the next 2 years. These projections, I believe, are credible, but they're cautious.
All of this is based on fictional growth and oil price projections that are wildly out of step with private sector forecasts.
The budget also follows through on a commitment to reduce spending. Spending is down nearly $2 billion this year. The size of the public sector will shrink again, more than 1,400 full-time equivalents. And the bill for small municipalities for those additional 500 RCMP officers, well, that starts to come due. It will be $286 million over the next 5 years. Tom Vernon, Global News at the legislature.
There's a lot to digest in this budget. It was 234 pages. It does include things that will impact your pocketbook. For instance, the government is introducing a 20% tax on vaping products, including cannabis. The move is expected to generate around $4 million in revenue for 2020-2021. A 4% tourism levy is to be collected on short-term rentals like Airbnb, similar to what's imposed on hotels. Camping fees are increasing by $10 nightly, and the province is looking to introduce income testing for seniors' drug programs. This means beneficiaries with higher incomes would have to pay deductibles. This budget also includes Alberta's corporate tax cut and the red tape reduction plan. However, the province has chosen to spur investment with some stimulus spending. Capital spending up 6%, and over the next 3 years, $772 million will go toward new infrastructure projects. The finance minister has promised even more capital announcements. He wants those projects to lead to even more jobs. There really wasn't anything new in the budget for municipalities, though. Our Chantal Wagner is with Mayor Ted Clugston for his thoughts on the Kenny government's plan and how it affects our city.
Yes, thanks, Dan. Here with Mayor Ted Clugston and looking at the budget so far. Initial thoughts? What are you seeing?
Yeah, well, it's, as you know, it's very early, and we will have to do a deep dive here in the next few days. Actually, we're going to be getting an update tomorrow from the AUMA, how it affects municipalities. AUMA is Alberta Urban Municipality Association. But from what I'm seeing, MSI is going down a little bit, and that is going to cause a lot of municipalities some stress and anguish, I'm thinking, because it's basically our main source of funding from the province that we pretty much do all of our a lot of our capital construction with. So we kind of expected that. That's not a surprise, but I know that it's going to be, we're going to have to work that out, as well as we're aware that they're taking more of the fine revenue from municipalities, which is about a $600,000 hit for the city of Medicine Hat. That was announced in the previous budget. I'm assuming that's continuing, hopefully not getting to be even more or a larger hit. And every 1% tax increase is about $800,000. So $800,000 equals 1%. So $600,000 is a lot of money to the city of Medicine Hat. And then what really kind of bothers myself and a lot of the other mayors and councils around the province is pilot, payment in lieu of taxes. So, I mean, I'm trying to be supportive. I get the fact that you can't run deficits forever, and this government has to make, the changes that they have to make, and the tough decisions they have to make. But it just causes there's only one taxpayer in the province of Alberta, and if they don't pay their property taxes, so payment in lieu is the province is no longer paying their property taxes on provincial buildings inside the city of Medicine Hat. And so that just gets spread around all the rest of the taxpayers in the city of Medicine Hat and other municipalities. But yet, if the provincial building started on fire, the city of Medicine Hat would still be there with the fire trucks, or if there were a break-in, our police would be there, and all the services that we provide to everybody in the city, and everybody in the city is expected to pay their fair share. So it's not really quite appropriate that the province has taken that away. But I've said that in the past that the city of Medicine Hat is probably more adept at managing these changes than maybe some other municipalities in the province.
Okay, so diving deeper into the numbers tomorrow at AUMA? Yeah,
so there will be a meeting, and a lot of the council members will probably be coming as well to go over, AUMA is Alberta Urban Municipality Association. They'll give us a bit of a deeper dive as to how it affects municipalities.
Mayor Ted Clugston, thanks so much. Back to you, Dan.
Thank you very much, Chantel. We've already heard what Opposition Leader Rachel Notley had to say. The finance critic Shannon Phillips was quick to slam the budget on Twitter, specifically mentioning a lack of funding for expanding the Highway 3 bridge over the Old Man River. Last March, the NDP government promised $100 million to expand it from 3 lanes to 6. She also noted expected layoffs in the public sector and the cuts to senior programs. The budget includes a plan to cut wait times. To achieve this, the UCP wants to double the number of surgeries done in private clinics over the next 3 years. Right now, about 15% of surgeries are done in private clinics. By 2023, the province hopes that number hits 30%, which is roughly 90,000 surgeries. The finance minister admits this is an ambitious plan and one that can't be achieved without substantial change. The province is budgeting $500 million for its surgical initiative, including $100 million for upgrading and building surgery facilities. Now, there is a lot, as I've mentioned, to digest with today's budget. If you'd like to give it a read, you can head to our website for more information. You'll find that at chatnewstoday.ca. Well, luckily we had some time to get outside this morning because we did spend most of the afternoon looking at the budget. I think our reporter Alex McQuaig is still looking at it. Alex, you still looking at the budget? Yeah, he sure is. All right, so outside right now this afternoon, beautiful day. Here's a shot of Veterans Memorial Park. 6 degrees with a westerly wind of 22 kilometers an hour. We're heading for a 5-day stretch of mainly sunny days, with only Saturday night being the exception. The full AccuWeather forecast coming up in just a few minutes here on Chat News at 5:30. Straight ahead, the Medicine Hat Library was the focus of an Oscar-winning star last night. Medicine Hat, Cypress County and Red Cliff will be holding a joint meeting tonight on their intermunicipal development plan. The planning document sets out land use expectations for the areas along the borders of the 3 municipalities. Speakers for the public hearing on the document will have up to 5 minutes to voice their concerns. The document is expected to be presented for 3rd reading in each municipality by the end of March. A happy ending tonight to a story we brought you just before Christmas last year. The story of a dog named Rubble, who was abandoned in the fall and has now been adopted by a local family. Chantal Wagner was there for the pickup this afternoon.
Everybody likes the A look of love. It's a new beginning for 7-year-old Rubble, a dog who has been waiting for a forever home since he was abandoned in September. He, along with his brother Petey, were dropped off at Pet Park boarding, and the owner never came back for them. Rubble's new family says they went to visit him last week.
Fell in love with him right away, basically, and thought it would be a really good fit.
Rubble had a tough go earlier in his life as somebody cut his ears off at some point. But now he's getting a fresh start. The Southern Alberta Humane Society oversaw Rubble's adoption and says he's going to the perfect home.
Oh, it's just amazing. It just, we held out for what we knew was the right home. And we're just so pleased that it's here. So it pays to wait.
Seaton says the couple is close to retirement and they have no other animals at home. The Heinrichs have also waited a long time to get another pet, and they've been following Rubble's story over the last couple months.
We just really enjoyed him, just visiting him for that short time, so we thought, well, might as well make it long term.
And they know Rubble has grown to be popular in the community with celebrity status.
He'll definitely be the star of the family, and yeah, we'll take good care of him, and we'll continue to try to help the people that have been taking care of him too, right? By taking them to different things that they would like us to.
Rubble is homeward bound and will be settling into his new forever home with the Heinrich family.
You get your own home.
Chantal Wagner, Chat News.
The Medicine Hat Public Library got a major shout out on social media from Academy Award winning actor Russell Crowe last night. The tweet was in response to a library post promoting two of musician Alan Doyle's books on its Twitter page. Doyle was in our city to perform at the Esplanade. The library tweeted out about the show and mentioned Doyle's two books, with Doyle responding in a subsequent tweet. Crowe, who's a friend of Alan's, responded to Doyle's tweet saying, "Medicine Hat Library has a great idea." Jillian Reimer with the library says the tweet from Crowe was an unexpected surprise.
I never thought I would ever see, someone of that caliber talking about our little library. So I think it kind of shows that people like Russell Crowe and Alan Doyle, they support libraries. At the very least, they're encouraging reading. So I think that's really good to see.
Reimer says Crowe is likely the most famous person who has ever tweeted about the Medicine Hat Library. Hey, Scott Roblin is at the college. We'll catch up with him in just a few minutes. He's there at the Snake Pit for the Provincial Volleyball Championships. And we'll also have more on this story coming up as well. Coming up, the COVID-19 outbreak is having rippling financial implications around the world. Global COVID-19 outbreak is having some sprawling, disruptive impacts. From flight cancellations and travel restrictions to warnings of rippling financial implications, millions of people are feeling the effect of what's become an international health crisis.
Je crois avoir une information transparente et c'est ce que...
The president of France warned doctors today an epidemic is on the way. Right now, at least 50 countries and territories have detected the virus. Outside Asia, the worst hit countries remain Italy and Iran. But every region has been told to prepare for a more severe pandemic. If that happens, Goldman Sachs says U.S. companies could record zero profit this year. Here's Krista Gomansing with a look at COVID-19's global spread.
The crowds have vanished. The novel coronavirus is scaring away customers from the cafes and shops of Italy. Venice is on its knees, says this business owner. We don't know how to react. More than 600 people in Italy are infected, and COVID-19 has caused 3 more deaths in the Lombardy region. The governor there is infected and is updating people on his condition by posting videos online.
The epidemics in the Islamic Republic of Iran, Italy, and the Republic of Korea demonstrate what this virus is capable of. But this virus is not influenza. With the right measures, it can be contained.
But it's not being contained. South Korea, with the largest one-day infection spike since January 20th, set up drive-through screening centers. Nearly 9,000 kilometers away, another mobile site, this one in London, where again, more cases have been detected. Australia's Prime Minister outlined his country's plan to protect public health, and he didn't shy away from the seriousness of the virus.
WHO is yet to declare the nature of the coronavirus and its move towards a pandemic phase. We believe that the risk of a global pandemic is very much upon us.
Mitigating risks is a key, and for the first time, Saudi Arabia is banning all foreign pilgrims. Officials say we feel a sense of responsibility, therefore we took these temporary decisions which will constantly be reviewed. A full ban wasn't even implemented for the Ebola outbreak in 2014. Throughout the year, millions of Muslims head to the kingdom for pilgrimages, and there's no time frame for when this ban might be lifted. Crystal Gamansing, Global News, London.
A major religious gathering has been canceled in Iran as that country deals with one of the world's worst new outbreaks. The Islamic Republic has called off Friday prayers in Tehran and several other cities to try and stop the spread. The move comes after a dramatic jump in confirmed cases to 245. There are also 26 deaths, and more high-ranking Iranian officials are among the sick. Just days after Iran's deputy health minister tested positive, one of the country's vice presidents and a senior Iranian MP are also infected and in quarantine. And even though he's not been diagnosed, in a sign of growing panic over COVID-19, Pope Francis made headlines today after skipping a planned mass because he was feeling unwell. Francis was seen coughing and blowing his nose during yesterday's Ash Wednesday Mass at the Vatican. He shook hands with people in the crowd and spoke in support of those dealing with COVID-19. The Vatican said today that Francis had a, quote, slight indisposition and preferred to work from home. Fears of COVID-19 continue to have a huge impact on global stocks, which suffered another market meltdown, a sixth straight day in a row. Both the TSX and Dow finished the day down. Investors appear to be running scared. There are 60 confirmed cases in the U.S. now, including a new case in California. The first time the virus was transmitted in the U.S. without a known source of infection. Here's Jackson Prosco to pick up this story.
In Northern California, a new COVID-19 mystery. A woman with no history of travel and no contact with known patients has tested positive for the virus. She's in hospital and on a ventilator.
The person who exposed them probably exposed others, so there's probably other cases out there in the community that we don't know about.
It may be the first case of community transmission in the U.S., exposing a huge gap in the American response. Despite being in hospital and having all the symptoms, the woman wasn't originally tested for COVID-19 because she didn't meet strict U.S. government criteria. The exact scenario experts have warned about.
I'm very concerned about the level of testing, and I'm puzzled about the level of testing. If a country like South Korea can do tens of thousands of tests, I do not understand why in our country we have managed to do barely 500.
More than 8,000 people in California are now being monitored for symptoms as the U.S. scrambles to ramp up its testing ability. But in Washington, the response to the virus has been defiant.
I don't think it's inevitable.
On Wednesday, the president contradicted his own experts and proclaimed the U.S. would soon have almost no cases of the virus.
We're going to be pretty soon at only 5 people, and we could be at just 1 or 2 people over the next short period of time.
Wall Street isn't buying it. The Dow took another steep dive, continuing its rapid decline into correction territory, while the White House reportedly considered enacting special wartime measures to increase production of masks and protective equipment for medical workers. Officials have warned supplies are woefully inadequate. There's also a heavy focus on managing public perception. U.S. government scientists and officials have been told they can't speak publicly or to the press until they coordinate with the Office of the Vice President, the man overseeing Trump's coronavirus response.
Back in Canada, a federal minister spent today in northern British Columbia meeting with Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs who don't want a natural gas pipeline crossing their territory. And the RCMP have agreed to suspend their patrols along a service road there. A resolution could lead to an end to all the rail blockades taking place across our country. Sarah McDonald is in Smithers, BC, where the talks are taking place.
The eyes of the nation were on this tarmac in northern BC Thursday. And one high-profile passenger in particular.
We're
I'm looking forward to the meeting. Carolyn Bennett, representing the federal government in high-stakes talks with Indigenous leaders, ready to come to the table. What was that misunderstanding?
I was in the air, so I was on my way here. We always wanted to meet.
But not providing details on why talks, setting the stage for a nation-to-nation meeting, were abruptly called off on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Were the Wet'suwet'en Hereditary Chiefs asked to call for an end to the blockades across Canada?
No, I think the issue is that I think everybody believes that there needed to be some space.
With the RCMP now pulling its members off this polarized parcel of Indigenous land, and work briefly halted on the natural gas pipeline, sparking unrest nationwide. The traditional leaders of Wet'suwet'en Nation fiercely opposed to the $6.6 billion project that's backed by band councils and all levels of government say they're open to dialogue.
We did not want it to get to this point of disruption, but that was actually the federal and provincial government.
But the chiefs won't call for an end to blockades like these, crippling rail traffic and parts of the Canadian economy for weeks, drawing the ire and condemnation of many Wet'suwet'en people like Marion Tiljo Shepherd.
I am for the pipeline. I am for industry.
Banking on the benefits and prosperity promised by that pipeline.
People just want to work. Our community wants to work, and I think the benefits are going to be really important to our people.
With livelihoods on the line, exactly how it will proceed and with what level of support, if any, from those determined to stop it, all depends on what happens behind these closed doors.
The governor of Wisconsin has ordered flags to fly at half-staff a day after multiple people were killed in a brewery in Milwaukee. Camila Bernal is in Milwaukee, where authorities are trying to piece together why this all happened.
A difficult time for so many of the employees and for the community as a whole. As the mayor put it, 5 people went to work yesterday thinking that they were going to return home to their families, to their loved ones, and instead today those families are in mourning.
Active shooter. What reports of one person shot at Miller Coors.
An armed employee storming a Milwaukee brewing complex Wednesday, gunning down 5 people.
We have located 5 additional deceased adult victims. The victims all worked at Molson Coors.
Police say the 51-year-old man eventually turned the gun on himself.
5 families, 6 families actually, are grieving. And will be grieving because of this horrific act of this individual.
More than 1,000 employees were working on the sprawling campus when they began receiving text and email alerts about an active shooter.
Find a safe place, active shooter on campus. Police are on scene, remain on lockdown.
Dispatch from one fire engine call the scene a war zone.
Hold on, companies. They do not have to shoot it down. It is an additional victim.
The names of the victims have not been released, nor has the motive of the shooter. A local company, Brew City Brand, announcing they're making Miller Strong shirts to help raise money for the families of the victims. And the corporate offices here will be closed at least for the rest of the week. In the meantime, there is a vigil being held tonight at 7 p.m. local time. The Ridge Community Church saying they want to get the community together and not have a regular service, but instead focused on prayer. Reporting in Milwaukee, I'm Camila Bernal. Back to you.
Financial Markets brought to you by Neil Mardian and Matt Solberg at TD Wealth, helping families make their wealth dreams a reality.
Today, the market saw the dollar down 31/100ths of a cent to 74.84. The TSX was down 324.98 basis points before trading was stopped due to technical issues. The day finished at 16,717.44. The Dow down 1,190.95 basis points. Today closed at 25,766.64. Gold finished the day down 60 cents to $1,642.50 US an ounce. Natural gas down 9 cents to $1.75 US per MMBTU. And oil today finished the day down $1.64 to $47.09 US a barrel. Friends, without further ado, let's send things out to the Snake Pit where Scott is for the ACAC Provincials.
Yeah, Thanks, Dan. After months of planning and preparation, the road to ACAC Provincials finally winds through the Snake Pit as the Medicine Hat College Rattlers begin their quest for gold tonight. And they are set to begin their tournaments in just a few minutes against the University of Alberta Augustana Vikings. The Rattlers endured injuries and an up-and-down season to finish with an 8-16 record in league play. But tonight that slate is wiped clean as they can enter the medal rounds with a victory against the Vikings. And for graduating players like Shayasuki, it's time to leave everything on the floor.
Just a great opportunity, honestly, this last year to have this final push. Nice to be home for it. I think the crowd will be big, nice and loud, and lay it all on the line.
Earlier this afternoon, the King's University Eagles picked up their first victory of provincials. They swept the Ambrose University Lions in 3 sets, led by a game-high 13 kills from Anna Pattison. This afternoon's victory means the Eagles are off to tomorrow's provincial semifinals. As for the Lions, their hopes of a provincial medal are over, though they will play at least one more game tomorrow. The Eagles will face the Briarcrest Clippers in the semifinals tomorrow after they took down Nate in 3 sets this afternoon. Of course, the Rattlers and Vikings are just about ready to go for first set action. And later tonight, Lloydminster's Lakeland College Rustlers square off against the Red Deer College Queens. And although this is really the first day of provincials down here at the Snake Pit, it unofficially began last night as some of Alberta's top female athletes were honored for their work on the court this year. As ACAC volleyball awards were handed out, with all 8 provincial teams in attendance, along with dozens of local girls volleyball players who presented the awards, the night's top honor of ACAC Player of the Year went to Briarcrest Clippers center Ashley Erickson.
Just being able to play free and going out on the court and just knowing that whether we win or lose, I'm the same person and it doesn't affect that. And I think with my game, it's just I've been able to go out there and play free and just have so much fun with my teammates.
And with O Canada going, we'll go to a quick break here on Chat News at 5:30. Back to the Snake Pit as we get ready for tonight's provincial contest between the Medicine Hat College Rattlers and the University of Alberta Augustana Vikings. And at last night's ACAC Awards ceremony, a local product was able to pick up a big award as Shayasuki was among last night's winners for the Rattlers. She was named to the South Conference All-Star team at Libero, leading all players with 408 digs on the season. She says it's a great honor, but has her sights set on something bigger, that being a provincial championship.
My team was all behind me, so that was exciting. Good way to end the year, I guess, but we're not done yet.
And incredible female volleyball stories aren't just limited to these provincials, however, as the Mount Royal University Cougars in Calgary are in the midst of one of their best seasons, led by one of their stars who is returning to the blue and white for the first time in over a decade. With more, here's Cami Kepke.
She's more than a mother figure to the MRU Cougars.
They're more like my grandkids.
At 40 years old, Tasha Holness is leading her team in one of its most successful seasons ever. The 6'2" middle has returned to university for one last chance at a U Sports Championship after nearly a decade away.
That's the only thing I don't have in my arsenal is a university national championship, so it would be nice if we get it this year.
Holness's volleyball career started back in 2003 when she walked into the wrong tryouts.
Tasha came in and she jumped up and grabbed the rim, and I was like, oh, man, that basketball team's going to be good.
I was warming up, shooting hoops, and just interrupted her volleyball tryouts, and she said, you're playing for me, so that's how that started.
In the years since, Holness has played pro across Europe and Asia and suited up for Team Canada for 8 years. Now in the twilight of her career, she's mentoring the next generation of elite players.
I'm really wanting to play pro eventually when I graduate, and she's just really helping me with the process. And I've been with the national team last year, hopefully going to be there again this summer. So she's just really been that role model, that person to answer all my questions.
She is a firecracker. She has been from the second I met her, and she just is so goofy, and she brings that onto the court, but she also brings that like such professionalism, and she just breeds confidence.
And as playoffs continue, Holness has a role model of her own watching from the stands.
Well, my mom actually hasn't missed any of my games since I started, so she's actually enjoying that because when I was playing overseas, she didn't get to see me play a lot, even with national teams.
The Cougars kick off the Canada West semifinal against the University of Alberta Pandas Friday at Mount Royal University. Cami Kepke, Global Sports.
There's Scott Robin down at the Snake Pit tonight for the ACAC Provincial Volleyball Tournament, and I think we need to get a studio audience in here one night to have as much fun as it looks like they're having there tonight. Scott can't even hear them. There's joy down at the Snake Pit tonight, and there's also joy in Winnipeg because a young 4-year-old boy is having the chance to finally hit the ice. That's despite having a rough start in life when his parents were told it may never be possible for him to do that. His journey started here in Alberta. Eric Pindera shares the story.
James Burns had his first surgery just minutes after being born.
Just to stabilize him enough so that they could medevac him out to Edmonton for his first open heart surgery before he was 2 days old.
He was born with a heart defect that affects the flow of blood to and from his heart.
The two major tubes or arteries that come off of the heart are developed in a way that they're switched around. So the tube that's supposed to be taking blood to the body actually takes blood to the lungs, and the tube that's supposed to be taking blood to the lungs actually is sending blood out to the body.
Doctors told his parents that that defect and all of the heart surgeries to correct it meant he might never be able to be active.
It was one of the most devastating pieces of information we had ever received.
But 4 years later, thanks to successful surgeries and James's own resilience, it's now game on.
It's the most incredible feeling ever. Every time I dress him in his gear, it feels like I'm living a dream because this was something that I wasn't sure was going to be an option for him.
James hopes to be a goalie, just like his favorite Winnipeg Jets player, Connor Hellebuck.
His short 4 years of life, he is obsessed with hockey.
Just like so many others. Eric Pindera, Global News.
Chat Weather, brought to you by Design Flooring Center, with you every step of the way. Chat Weather, powered by AccuWeather.
So many numbers to share with you over the next 3 minutes. One I want to start off by sharing with you is the number 5. You're used to seeing us at 5:30 here on Chat Television. Starting Monday, this weather forecast and our entire show will move to 5 o'clock. So set your PVRs and know that we'll be starting from 5 to 6 starting on Monday. Let's start with some more numbers right now. What do we get? Well, we get a 7. Yeah, we turn it up to 7 degrees today when normally it's about 1. Today and tomorrow, not going to break any records, but we're certainly going to have another great day. Tomorrow, in fact, I put in a request tomorrow for the numbers to hit double digits. So let's see if that all happens. 6 still out there right now under a very clear sky. The winds are gusting about 22 kilometers an hour. It's a westerly wind. That's going to change into a west-northwesterly wind in the overnight period. Not going to be too bad tonight or tomorrow when it comes to the wind, but the winds will be gusty on Saturday, and then Saturday night, there's a chance of some precipitation. But from now until then, clear, lots of sunshine, and some good times I expect to be had outdoors. So Calgary, Edmonton both got close to double digits today. They're sitting there at 9 right now. Lethbridge is at 8, Bow Island 7, and Drumheller and Brooks under a very clear sky are 5 degrees. In Saskatchewan, Regina seeing some rain right now. Wet snow and rain mixed together. It's 6 on the plus side to Leader and Maple Creeks, 3 in Swift Current, and in Saskatoon it is 0. Let's take a look at how the radar looked this afternoon. So we did see a system up in our atmosphere. Lots of cells up there above Medicine Hat, but not resulting in any precipitation and not really resulting in that much cloud at all. You can see why Regina is dealing with the wet snow tonight. There's that system trying to push its way through. Pushing its way through our system is that low that's sitting right there. At lunchtime, I was talking about the fact that it's going to move toward us and might not do anything. There's a slight chance of a millimeter of rain coming our way Saturday night into Sunday. But Saturday is going to be fantastic, as you'll see in just a few minutes when I show you the extended 7-day forecast. And we're going to have lots of sunshine between now and then, and that includes tomorrow tomorrow, if you're planning your day in Brooks, this is what you can expect. Waking up to a clear sky, seeing the temperature go to 4 degrees, and then just a few clouds for you tomorrow night. In Leader tomorrow, you'll see lots of sunshine by the afternoon. Intermittent clouds on both 6 o'clock and the 6 a.m. and p.m. -5 to +1 by the end of the day. Maple Creek, mainly sunny for you, 5 degrees. And here in Medicine Hat, mainly sunny at noon and at 6 o'clock, as the sun is now going down after 6 o'clock. So a fantastic Friday is in store, and with these temperatures and this beautiful weekend coming in, you might be looking for something to do. And if you are, here's Mike LaCour with What's Up in the Hat.
Thank you very much, Dan. Here is what we've got going on this weekend. Cape School is having their biennial science fair on Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. Grade 4 to 9 students will have science projects they'll be eager to show off. There will be concession available and a book fair to check out. Judges may still be needed, so if you're interested, call 403-528-2983. The Bee Youth Center will be hosting a Pie in the Face fundraiser. The event will run on Saturday starting at 1 p.m. You can purchase pies at the center for $5 each. Monies raised during the event will go towards funding for free programming for members of the Bee Youth Center. Learn more about the otters living on the South Saskatchewan River this Sunday. Starting at 2 p.m., be sure to head down to Police Point Park Nature Center, where a walk will be held to try and observe a group of 3 otters living near the waters. The walk may be an extended one over difficult terrain, so it is not recommended for kids or anyone with mobility issues. Get more info on the day at 403-529-6225. Have a look at everything else happening this weekend by checking out the events calendar on chatnewstoday.ca. And if there's an event you'd like us to feature on What's Up, please email us at chatnews@jpbg.ca. Back to you, Dan.
Well, thank you very much. Still to come here on Chat News at 5:30. If you see someone driving an expensive car, there's a good chance that they're a jerk. It's a study, scientific fact. We'll have that for you next. Scientists are now confirming something many people long suspected was true, but were never able to prove. If you see someone driving an expensive car, they're probably a jerk. Now, whoa, come on, slow down, relax. If you own a luxury and sports vehicle, chill, man. The finding is speculative and obviously not definitive, right? Simply the result of research published in the Journal of Transport and Health. The study found that those who drive flashy vehicles are less likely to stop and allow pedestrians to cross the road. According to the study, the likelihood of a driver slowing down drops by 3% for every extra $1,000 of their vehicle's value. The researchers came up with their findings by getting volunteers to cross a sidewalk hundreds of times, filming and analyzing driver responses. It's only February, but toy makers are already gearing up for the holiday season. Nancy Chen has more on what kids will be begging for this Christmas.
Thousands of new toys will be hitting the market this year, from a flying pixie to a marshmallow blaster, even a sloth that can do the floss dance. But the anticipation for this toy is out of this world.
It's going to be a frenzy.
I think people are going to be fighting over Baby Yoda.
I do.
The Force is going to be with them.
The Force is definitely with them.
The Toy Insider's Lori Schacht says Baby Yoda from the Disney Mandalorian series will be everywhere. Officially called The Child, Mattel has a plush toy coming out this spring and a smaller version for the fall.
So this will be $24.99. This one is $12.99.
Hasbro will have its own $25 toy that moves in the spring. There will also be puzzles.
Oh, hey, I got one.
And a game where you shoot frogs through Yoda's mouth.
Yes. Oh. And I think that as quickly as merchandise hits the shelves, it is going to disappear.
The Mealtime Magic Doll is getting buzz for its lifelike expressions.
Mama, hungry.
Pick a virtual food. We got some peas coming. And the baby reacts.
Did she like that? Oh, I think she did.
Kids are also expected to flip for this game. Put on the goggles.
Oh, wow.
And your world is turned upside down.
You're on the 1. Okay, now go to the 2. Oh.
It's not all games. There are plenty of toys to stimulate learning. like this robot that kids build themselves, or the mega cyborg hand with hydraulics that respond to touch.
200 pieces in this baby.
Wow. The toys are designed to help kids get a grip on robotics and have fun at the same time. Nancy Chen, CBS News, New York.
All right, I would normally talk longer to introduce my friend Scott, but I have to go online now and order a bunch of those Baby Yoda plush toys. So back we go to the Snake Pit where Scott is at the ACACs.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. A ton of excitement down at the Snake Pit here in the first set between the Rattlers and Augustana Vikings. But another big game going on in Cochrane tonight involving a Medicine Hat team, the Cubs, in Game 3 of their best-of-7 series. We got more details coming up on the other side. The Snake Pits, Medicine Hat College Rattlers against Augustana Vikings here at ACAC Women's Volleyball Provincials. But right now, we're going to shift to hockey, as after a 4-day layoff, the Medicine Hat Cubs reignite their second-round series tonight in Cochrane, as Medicine Hat down the Generals 5-1 at the Kinplex on Sunday, bouncing back to tie the best-of-7 series at 1. The Cubs have yet to beat the Generals in Cochrane, something co-head coach J.D. Gaitan says will present a big test tonight.
They play really well in Cochrane. They play well at their home rink. So, we have to look at this win, get excited about it and take that momentum into Cochrane and see what we can do.
We're definitely going to come out strong, and with the confidence that we have coming from this game, we're going to be looking for another win for sure.
Meanwhile, the SEAC Bantam AAA Tigers can advance in the AMBHL playoffs tonight. They host the Airdrie Extreme for Game 2 of their best-of-3 series at the Hockey Hounds. And Elias Eisenbarth OT winner Tuesday means if the Tigers can pull out a W tonight, they're off to divisional semifinals. Game time this evening goes at 7:15. And over in the curling sphere, it is a big week with the Brier coming up in Kingston, and Team Alberta actually flies out today to take part in the 2020 Tim Hortons Brier. Alberta famously is a tough province to come out of, but Brendan Bottcher's rink has been there is going to actually his 4th trip to the Brier, a remarkable accomplishment. With more, here's Quinn Phillips.
For the members of the Brendan Bottcher rink, it sure doesn't seem like 4 years ago when they were talking about getting ready for their first Brier.
When you look back at all the things we've done, it makes sense, but to think that we're going to our 4th Brier after feels like just yesterday that we won our first provincials.
Every year, it gets easier to prepare for Canada's biggest competition.
The more years you get back, you learn a few details here and there, and I think more than anything, you just learn that it's a really long week. And you've got to relax, and there's going to be good moments and bad moments, and you kind of got to weather the storm a little bit.
The Bottcher rink has proven that it doesn't shy away from the national spotlight. It has played in the last 2 Brier finals.
It's certainly a confidence level that 2 years in a row we were in the final. I think we're really process-oriented, so we got there by playing well and playing our game as good as we could. And if we do that again this week, I think we'll be in the mix again.
In 2018, Bottcher lost to Brad Gushu, who was playing as Team Canada. Last year, it was Alberta's Kevin Cooey who won the title game on the final shot against Bottcher, who qualified as the wild card.
So you're going to touch it far enough. Oh, and they did it.
There's a pressure that comes with being top 2, and of course, wanting to take the next step, which is winning the whole thing.
I try not to focus too much on that. As far as I'm concerned, there's a lot of talent at the Brier. There's a lot of Brier wins there. There's a lot of Olympic wins there, and I still think we're the underdog against a lot of those teams, which is a role that I'm pretty happy with.
Quinn Phillips, Global Sports.
And the first set just wrapping up here at the Snake Pits in this first provincial game for the Medicine Hat College Rattlers. Unfortunately for the Rattlers, it was Augustana picking up the victory in the first set, as we're just about to move to set number 2. Of course, we'll have all your highlights and full reaction coming up tomorrow on Chat News at noon. Back to you in studio, Dan.
Scott Roblin at the Snake Pit tonight. Thanks, Scott. Scott will be back there tomorrow. Tonight, we still have one more story for you, and it's all about new rules. Rules aimed at keeping an endangered species of whale from going extinct. An estimated 400 North Atlantic right whales remain after 30 died in the past 3 years, mostly in Canadian waters. The federal government says measures announced today in Ottawa will protect the whales. Whale researchers hope the government is right. Here's Ross Lord.
With their critically low numbers at risk of declining even further, the future of North Atlantic right whales is largely in the hands of legislators, federal politicians, sorting out how the whales can coexist with cargo ships and fish harvesters.
Our number one focus is we want to try to really bring down to zero the risk to the North Atlantic whales.
We are confident that these measures will be effective.
The new rules include closing fishing zones for the entire season in areas where right whales gather, expanding temporary closures into the Bay of Fundy, requiring more fish harvesters to mark their gear, and reimposing speed limits on cargo ships. Whale researchers say the rules are similar to previous years.
I think they've kind of refined them, so I think they're going to be a lot more pointed and perhaps try and be a bit more effective.
For crab fishers whose catches might suffer during the summer, there's an opportunity to start their season early and avoid contact with the whales.
The hope is that people can be in and out before the North Atlantic right whales return to Canadian waters.
Researchers say 10 right whale calves have been born over the winter in the waters of the southern United States, which equals the number killed last summer in Canadian waters.
They're doing their part to make sure that they're continuing the population. We need to make sure we're doing our part.
A new search for symmetry on the seas. Ross Lord, Global News, Halifax.
I promised you a 7-day forecast earlier, and now here's me fulfilling my promise. So there, that 7 tomorrow could inch up closer to double digits. We'll see how that goes. Saturday night, it will be windy. There is a chance of some rain in the overnight period, but then another great week coming up next week. It was budget day, and if you missed any coverage, head to our website at chatnewstoday.ca. It's all online for you, and we'll be back on TV tomorrow at noon. Thanks for choosing Chat tonight. Have a great evening.